Hello, I am Ayoyalaipe, and I like to hop into top tier air arcade matches and then personally kill the entire enemy team by myself. So I'm gonna make a series of guides teaching you how to play War Thunder's most difficult and chaotic game mode. Today, we're gonna go back to what this channel was built on. Completely outrageous MiG-21S arcade mode kill streaks. Now, I was gonna make a top tier air arcade dogfighting guide, right? With lots of editing and stuff, but then I had this game, I was like, this can just be the guide? Plus, it never gets old when people are like, hey, where'd the enemy team go? And then I'm like, oh, I killed it. By myself. Again, here's my channel. Go like and subscribe. Because why not plug my channel after I plugged an entire team? Now, you might think it's odd that I would make a dogfighting guide with a MiG-21S because it sucks at dogfighting, right? However, there are a few core TTAA dogfighting principles that pretty much apply to all planes above a certain rank. And the MiG-21S can just barely pull off a really important one. That makes it really, really obvious when I show it on camera. It also looks really, really awesome. And of course, I'll also point out some smaller tips along the way. So as you climb the tech tree, planes tend to fly faster but turn slower. Yes, that means that any rank 1 biplane will easily outturn any rank 8 fighter jet, as weird as that sounds. It's, again, planes get faster but less maneuverable. Around rank 6, there's an inflection point where you can fly so fast that your opponent can't actually turn their plane around fast enough to shoot you with their guns, even with the simplified flight models in arcade mode. You'll just be out of gun range by the time they finish their turn and get on your 6 o'clock. In other words, you outrun their turn. This move also works on missiles, and I'll elaborate on how that works in a moment. And just to state the obvious, you not only need a plane that's fast enough to do this, but you also need the plane to then actually go fast enough, so if you don't keep your speed up, this won't work. And in fact, just remember, in top tier, speed is life. Another factor to consider is that jets have really bad energy retention in general when compared with props. With the MiG-21 I'm flying here actually having just about the worst in the game. This means that in top tier, if you can force your opponent to turn when you don't have to turn, then you gain a massive energy advantage. So not only can they not shoot you, but then they also have trouble chasing you down once they turn around. You can leverage this to control the fight. Props have very good energy retention, so this particular thing throws off a lot of players when they make the switch to jets, and especially missile jets. Overall, the tactic of outrunning turns is important to know not just for its direct utility, you don't get shot down as often, but because it just really changes your mindset on how this game works. I've noticed that when I explain this to individual players, they get way better real fast. The early MiG-21s sit right on this inflection point, and since the enemies it faces in a down tier tend to be unusually maneuverable, I'm only just barely able to outrun their turns. And right on cue, this F-80 tries to kill me. I cut to the right a little bit when I see him, which makes it harder for him to get behind me in time because of the angles, and he just doesn't get behind me in time. I'm constantly figuring out how to get over, under, or around players without giving them window to shoot me, but I make it look so natural that most people don't notice that's what I'm doing in all of my videos. It's actually most of the work. It's not effortless at all. It's actually far easier to pull this move off in an up tier with this plane, because the jets I face there have different cards to play, so to speak. So that's why I'm posting this game even though it's a full down tier. And as this kill streak grows, the enemy team will try harder and harder to kill me, and you're going to see me thread the needle while flying a plane that looks like a needle, I guess. I'll point out the examples as we go. We've already seen a few subtle ones I didn't bother pointing out, but we got some obvious ones coming up. Side note, this SK-60 managed to dodge an incredibly difficult R3R shot. I looked away, so I'm not sure what he did, but whatever it is, props to that guy. I didn't have any missiles left, so I'm just going to pick off this IL-28 with the handful of bullets I have left. I did set him on fire, but someone managed to kill seal him before he crashed into the ground. Oh well. Now, I'm about to screw up an attack on a whole bunch of enemy players all at once, and it gets very interesting. You can learn a lot from this one clip. I get this guy from above, so that goes according to plan. Nothing else will. Now, I'm going to go do a head-on with all of these people you see here. I do have a guide on head-ons already on my channel, by the way. The title is something along the lines of I love shooting A-10s in the face. I just play a montage of me flying up to A-10s and shooting them in the face while explaining why the key principles of head-on make it very easy for me to do that and get away with it. It's probably one of my funniest videos, actually. Now, the bigger the turn you force your opponent to make if they want to kill you, the more of an advantage you have, and the biggest turn you can force someone to make is 180 degrees. So if you get good at dodging head-ons, you can cut past huge groups of enemy players and basically pants them. It's great. So that's what I'm about to do here. As you're about to notice, an F-86 is going to come down from the sky and try to shoot me, and he's going to have a much easier time getting behind me because he didn't have to make a 180 degree turn. But he's still going to be not quite able to shoot me. So it's very, very easy for me to outrun the turns of people who need to make a 180-degree turn, but this guy only has to make a 90-degree turn, and he has a plane with really good energy retention. I'm only just barely able to escape. Now, I should of course go back and explain how I dodged those bullets. In a head-on-ish engagement, things move so fast that these guys will only have a very narrow window to shoot at me. Once they're lined up to shoot at me, I can yank the controls and make a quick small change of my position. This changes the point of impact faster than my opponents can adjust their aim. So it's impractical to hit me even though the bullets land quite close to me. After my opponents miss, they can't turn around fast enough to actually shoot me, so I'm out of there scot-free because they don't have missiles. So I don't need to move to the precise positions I move to, I just need to jump around in any direction to throw off her aim long enough for me to get out of there. And that is how I regularly fly through swarms of bullets without getting hit. Some of those guys turned around to try to kill me, but then turned back when they realized they weren't going to get me. They made 2 unnecessary turns, and that drained their speed. Meanwhile, I ran off the edge of the map, which turned my plane around for free in energy terms when the game reset my position to the default. Yes, War Thunder has wall hacks. This resetting will cap your speed, but not your altitude, so I just traded my excess speed for altitude, and then the altitude back into speed after I was reset. I can now circle back and come in screaming with my huge energy advantage and take them down. Also, it's not spawn camping if the enemy players don't leave the spawn. I mean, I'm not going to spare people just because they're camping their own spawn. Now, when it comes to missiles, it's actually pretty simple. Running a turn usually won't get you out of missile range on its own if your opponent reacts quickly enough, but it will let you build a large energy advantage and put a lot of distance between you and your opponent before he's able to cork off a missile. Speed and distance buys you a lot of options on how to deal with a missile, and if you don't know what those options are, go watch my guide on dodging missiles. I'll link it in the description. I make my guides in a specific order so that they build on each other. Now I'm going to have a quick interlude because I'm being chased down by this J-35. He's faster than me, and I can't win a straight-up turn-and-burn dogfight with him. No matter what plane you and your opponent are flying, the single most important factor in winning a dogfight in TTAA is actually where the dogfight happens, like where on the map. Even though this J-35 is faster than me, it will take him so long to chase me down that I get to decide where the fight happens. And that's because I kept my speed up ahead of time before I knew anyone was coming for me. So I'm going to lead him in front of my spawn and low over my own airfield. If he flies over the airfield, the AAA will kill him. He instead turns back, but he just made a big unnecessary turn and lost a lot of energy, right in front of my teammates who spawned in with an altitude advantage. The result is a lot like throwing a french fry in front of a flock of seagulls. I also miss at that A4 that tried to kill me, but then the AAA kills him, so I guess you get 2 examples for the price of 1. But you really shouldn't be turning all willy-nilly without thinking about where you are. Remember, if you have a turn-and-burn dogfight in the wrong spot, then your dogfight will just end with some yokel either missiling you or stealing your kill, depending on which team the yokel is on. That's not random, and you can use that to set up traps to kill other people if you just need them out of the way, like I did that J-35. I've seen a lot of people get upset and quit top-tier air arcade because they just don't understand how to handle this. When you hear someone complain about quote-unquote missile spam, this is the skill issue they struggled with before they fled top-tier air arcade for realistic. There's way less missiles flying through the air in realistic, so at top tier it's actually the easier mode to play at a basic level for most people because you don't need to know as much about how to deal with missiles and all the positioning and everything. I will make a whole video about the French fry seagull problem when I next get a game with a bunch of really good obvious examples of it. It'll probably be an F8 game. Anyways, let me quickly explain a little bit more about missiles. As you climb the tech tree in the top tier ranks, missiles get better, but planes also get faster and turn slower. So that means outrunning turns gets more effective about in the same proportion. So while the exact details change, the general principle holds from rank 6 through to the newest rank 8 planes. However, in this particular game, no one actually fires a missile at me because, well, I killed all the guys with missiles before they had the chance. It isn't actually all that uncommon for me to go through a whole match without someone launching a single missile at me. However, that's often because getting really good at outrunning turns not only denies enemies most of the opportunities they would have to launch a missile at you, but also just makes you a remarkable pain in the ass to kill that discourages most players from attacking you in the first place. If you want a good example of that, there's a video of me just flattening a full up tier 25-0 with the same plane you're seeing in this clip. And at no point did anyone ever launch a missile at me. They never got the chance. As far as I know, that's currently the world record rank 6 kill streak, but it's hard to know these things for certain. I will elaborate on this in future guides, so subscribe if you don't want to miss that. And as usual, this is when some guy on the other team decides to start trying to trash talk me for some reason. There's usually one. Yeah, I totally rely on my 3,500 subscribers to put food on the table. Man, I must be one starving fat ass. What follows is a whole lot of back and forth in the chat and a whole lot of people just not spawning in. So I'm going to fast forward through that. The R3R missile I have is a radar-guided version of the AIM-9B. Like, literally the Soviets captured and copied an AIM-9B, and it has identical performance apart from the guide system. You can make a lot of shockingly long-range shots with this, but it requires a lot of geometry and cynicism. I don't have time to explain it in this video. I then brag in the chat that I got him from 6.5 kilometers away, but that was actually inaccurate. I only got him from about a little under 6, about 5 3/4. Honest mistake, I need to look at the tape to double check. However, I make up for that because when he respawns, I nail him from 9.4 kilometers away. Yeah, you can snipe people from across the map with an AIM-9B if you know what you're doing, but again, this is going to have to be in a different video. But I have noticed that players frequently become very frustrated when I do this to them. Oh, and I initially thought my first missile missed, but it hit right after I launched a follow-up shot. Oh, and this plane is a bit of a skill cannon. I've said that before in other videos, but I feel like it bears repeating here. And this is my last kill, and this is a really long game. It lasted over 15 minutes, all said and done. I was very low on gas by this point, so I went to land for more because there was this one guy who would just take forever to spawn in. One of the guys was dragging out the game. Then he finally respawned, and I decided, screw it, and turned around to kill him. My missiles wound up missing him for once, all of them, and I just wound up running out of gas right there and becoming a sitting duck, and I was like, oh wow, I'm gonna do all of this just to die in the dumbest way possible, being chased down by a freaking IL-28. But the IL-28 runs away from me. He ignores me. I guess he's scared of me. So I just start gliding to my airfield, but then the game ends. So unfortunately, it wasn't a complete team wipe. Just kidding. My airfield's AAA sniped his ass right as the credits rolled. Let's go! No survivors. Team gone. Here's the ending card. And here's the scoreboard. I'm the guy at the top. So subscribe if you want to see more of this. This is like regular content for my channel, man. This game is nuts. Here are the two guides I referenced in this video, plus whichever video of mine YouTube decided to recommend to you. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's worth watching.